Добрий день, колеги! З вами Надя Макаренко і туристичний оператор Тревел Дизайнер. Сьогодні у нас фантастична зустріч з паном Моне, і він нам сьогодні презентує готелі, мережеві готелі, які розташовані в Африці. Тож не будемо витрачати час, я передаю йому слово. Презентація буде англійською мовою.
Thank you very much, Nadia and the team at Travel Designer for this opportunity. I hope I can share some new properties with you. Just a little bit about the company. My name is Monet, like the painter, but without the talent, I don't have that. But I can talk about travel a lot. I am truly African. I've been born and bred here, and I spent the last 30 years of my life in East Africa promoting travel to East Africa. My company's name is Bespoke Destination Marketing, and we look after various products, all in the kind of mid-range to high-end luxury products throughout Kenya and Uganda. So first off, I'm going to start with Uganda and then move into Kenya and then end with the high-end products right at the end. Some of these properties are brand new, so they're not even open yet. But at least you'll have first-hand experience of what is coming your way. So in Uganda, the company that I represent is Crystal Safaris, and we've got 3 properties there. So Uganda, as you know, famous for chimpanzees, gorillas, and safari. It really is what they call the Pearl of Africa. In general, you would not combine Uganda with another country unless it's Rwanda. It is really an all-inclusive country. So our first property is Crater Safari Lodge. It is close to Kibale National Park. So Kibale National Park, famous for its chimpanzees. This is where the chimpanzee habituation experience happened, and your travelers would basically go for a day walk in the park with some of the scientists and then follow these chimpanzees and follow the whole experience with them from de-nesting in the morning to foraging, eating, playtime, and then starting building their nest for the afternoon and evening sleeps again. The property itself is a luxury property. It is not a high-end property. In Uganda, there is no such thing as 5-star. It's very important to remember. These property qualities are really good, but it's not a 5-star product. It is a really good 4-star product. So as you can see, it's a beautiful property. It's just had a refurb and all soft and new colors all around. The property itself is situated on a hill and looks out over the Crater Lakes. It is the largest crater lake in Uganda that it looks out on. So really just a beautiful setting all around with views 360 around the property. Moving on, Gorilla Safari Lodge. So Gorilla Safari Lodge is in Bwindi impenetrable forests in the south, close to Kihihi. Kihihi would be the airstrip that you land in. And of course, Bwindi, famous for its gorillas. This is what we go there to do. There's about 655 mountain gorillas left in this area, so super endangered. Very different to the lowland gorillas, where lowland gorillas, basically there's about almost 22,000 left in West Africa. So only 650 left in the wild in Volcanoes National Park. So Volcanoes National Park straddles 3 countries, Rwanda, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So Gorilla Safari Lodge, it is the closest property to the entrance of the park and where you will do your safaris from. The property has just been rebuilt earlier this year. In January, it reopened. So brand new guest areas, brand new lounge areas. And this is really the closest to a 5-star property that you will get in Uganda. Just an absolutely beautiful property, very light, very bright, really giving that colonial feel, but being in Africa. So as you can see, very warm and an inviting property to rest and be there for your gorilla safaris. So gorilla safaris, bear in mind, it is a big ticket item. It is a bucket list item because they're so endangered. So your gorilla permits are usually quite expensive. They range around $800 for a 1-hour trek to the gorillas. So it's not 1 hour there and back. You basically get to spend about 1 hour with the gorillas in total. And then moving on in the northeast of Uganda, there's an area called Kidepo Valley. So Kidepo Valley, very, very unknown. There are very few properties up there, and it is arguably one of the most aesthetically beautiful places in Rwanda. So it's a new property. I do not have images yet of this property. This is only the main house which we've done, but just to give you an idea of how beautiful it really is. It is all about safari. So as I mentioned, Uganda is a country where you can do everything in one. So you can do your safari, your chimpanzee tracking, your gorilla tracking, and then of course you've got adventure sports at places like Ginger and the Nile. Kidepo Valley, not for first-time visitors. It is really for the wildlife enthusiasts. The animals have not been habituated yet. However, in the next 2 years, as the tourism grows to this area, we'll see that animals will become a lot more habituated and calmer, and this will be a good substitute to Queen Elizabeth National Park. Going to move on to Kenya from here. So in Kenya, Ashnell and Surana. So Ashnell is more of a 4-star product, and Surana is a 5-star product. The two products very different, both very authentic and really good quality accommodation and good value for money at the end of the day, and that's what really matters. So in terms of Ashnell, the Ashnell product is in 3 locations. So Kenya, your main safari areas, as everybody knows, Masai Mara, and then you have the smaller ones like Samburu, Amboseli, Tsavo National Park, so the ones that are not as familiar. However, these parks are all very, very different and provide different experiences. We're first going to go to Ashnell Aruba. So Ashnell Aruba is in Tsavo East. It really is the playground of the tuskers. So when we talk about tuskers, those are the elephants with the very long tusks. We call them the super tuskers. There's only about 12 of them left in the wild. We do see them on a regular occasion. And what's been happening is that the elephants that are being born today actually have a lot shorter tusks. And within the next 25 to 30 years, we're probably going to see elephants with no tusks at all. Not because of human interference, it's just evolution. So as things change, the tusks just tend to grow smaller and smaller. Ashnell Aruba, the property has got 3 different styles of accommodation. So the lodge, first off, it does cater more for conferencing and mice. However, we've got the tented camp. So the tented camp, just a beautiful, very down-to-earth, basic tented camp that's only 6 tents. So really that exclusive feel. And then brand new, just opened up on the 1st of June this year is the Club Wing. Club Wing is more of a 5-star experience. So private pool, private dining area, and just a really comfortable new setting that we've opened up. These suites all look out over the savannah, so the views are absolutely beautiful. This just gives you an idea of what the suites look like on the inside, and as you can see, very comfortable and beautiful settings all around. From Ashnell Aruba, I'm going to go to the north to an area called Samburu. So Samburu National Park, really famous for its gerenuk, which is a type of antelope that is a leaf eater, not a grass eater. So it stands on its hind legs. They also call it the long-necked gazelle or the giraffe gazelle. So Samburu also famous for other animals that you don't get in the other national parks, such as the gravy zebra and the Rothschild giraffe. What I love about this camp, it's very, very different than your traditional safari camps. So the tents are all in a hexagon shape and not your typical square or rectangular shapes. All around beautiful camp. As I mentioned, 4-star, great value for money. Here you're looking at about, I would say about $300 a night on rack. So this just gives you an idea of the price point. Similar product to this sells for more than double than that. In Samburu, what is really important is that backdrop that you see. So where you look at the backdrop, you'll see these beautiful mountains, and that's really what Samburu is about. It's aesthetically just a beautiful area. So a bathroom area, and then of course, what do we do on safari? We love sundowners and bush dinners. So we see the picture behind me. That's a sundowner that I had in Mara. This is something very similar. It's a sundowner in Samburu. Of course, you need a swimming pool in Samburu. It gets very hot, around 40 degrees Celsius, and in the cooler times, around 32, 33 degrees Celsius. So it is a really hot destination to go. And then our luxury property in the area is called Serana Buffalo Springs. Just something that is completely out of the ordinary, really well-designed tent and a building that is completely different to anything out there. Serana Buffalo Springs, this Buffalo Springs National Park is right next to Samburu. The big difference is the one is on the left side of the river and the other one's on the right side of the river. So in terms of animals and the scenery, there's no difference between the two. The property itself is really a good 5-star property overlooking the river as well as the mountains in the south. So just a great view all around. Property has a heated and a cold swimming pool, as well as a spa, a gym, a yoga deck with an on-site yoga instructor. So also just tapping into that wellness. Each suite beautifully decorated, very minimalist, just giving that luxury feel to the suites. And then each suite also has its own private plunge pool. Also priced really well. So similar products to this would go for around $1,500 a night. This is on rack about $750 a night. So very, very well priced. As you can see, I mentioned it's architecturally very different from anything out there. It really is just an absolutely stunning property and really where you want to stay in this area. Going to move on to the Masai Mara. So Masai Mara, everybody's familiar with the Masai Mara, famous for the Great Migration. Now, even though the Great Migration happens and the animals are there between July and August, it is not something that we actively promote. The reason being is that the park gets really, really full, and it just takes away from the guest experience. For me personally, I would promote going to the park anytime outside of July and August. You have a far better experience. If you want to see migration specifically, Tanzania is the place to be. Almost year-round, you can find migration in Tanzania. Best time for me to see the Great Migration would be in February. So in February, it's down in the south and the Serengeti, and that is the time when all these animals give birth. So you could be there and you could see 10 or 20 or 50 wildebeest giving birth at the same time. So it really is a special time of the year to be there with all these animals and their babies around. The National Mara just reopened on the 15th of June, complete rebuild, beautiful new guest areas, beautiful fire pits and lounge areas all around. The tents are far bigger than what they used to be, all hard wood floors. These beds are extra king size beds, so they're bigger than the standard king size. Plus, you can add a second or even a third bed in the room if you have kids or third person sharing or young adults sharing together. So very, very comfortable tents. As you can see, it's canvas walls, canvas and mortar. The roof and the sides are made from tinted canvas. The property itself, as I mentioned, just been redone. So lots of water features, new lighting and seating all around. Really beautiful. This is the bar. We haven't stocked it even yet. So it's literally just open now. And then moving on, Serana Mara is a brand new property. So Serana Mara will open in September this year. It is currently under construction. So please excuse the images that I have that are purely artist impressions. However, we feel that they will be very similar to the actual product. So Serana Mara will be very different from anything else that's out there. In terms of aesthetic, it will not look like anything that's out there. So to give you an idea, those are what the tents look like. Just something completely different. Very high ceilings. The reason for the high ceilings is just to keep that cool air inside and just provide that sense of space. Glass fronted with decks, and each one of those tents will look out over the Sand River. Again, just excuse the quality of the image. It's not that great. They come from architectural drawings, so they're not that great quality. However, it gives you an idea of the deck that's in front of the tent with a telescope on every deck, indoor and outdoor seating. The rooms themselves, very spacious, luxurious rooms, seating area indoor and outdoor. And then my personal favorite, not a traditional mosquito curtain, but an electric mosquito curtain that runs from the roof right round. And then this is the landing area. Now, the last three properties rather, that I'm going to introduce is a high-end luxury product. They are all in the Marriott brand. So going on to these, first off, the JW Marriott Masai Mara, which is already open. JW Marriott obviously being the high-end Marriott brand. The other brands that Marriott have in their portfolio that's high-end besides the great JW Marriott is the Ritz-Carlton, and then their highest brand would be St. Regis. So JW Marriott Masai Mara, it is on the river in the Masai Mara. It's on the Talek River. It's not technically inside the Mara. However, if you look at this image, there's some elephants on the right-hand side. That is how close you are to the Masai Mara. So you're virtually in the Masai Mara. There are no fences in these parks. So you can't say that the animals are only in that area. The animals do tend to move in and out of these areas. The property, as I mentioned, it's very high end. So really just a luxurious feel, air conditioning, fans, and just comfortable all round. We also have an on-site photography studio with 2 on-site photographers. This is in collaboration with Canon. This just gives you an idea of the sort of common area or your sundowner area. All of this looks out onto the Mara. It looks west towards where the sun sets. And then, of course, again, pool, yoga deck, gym, everything that's needed for wellness. The spa here has a plunge pool as well. We do massages, all the kinds of massages and treatments that you can almost think of. And in addition to this, the products that they use are all natural products. Moving on, the Ritz-Carlton Masai Mara will open in August this year. It will be on the very south of the Masai Mara on the Sand River. So the Sand River is the river that basically is the border between Tanzania and the Masai Mara. So this property will look out onto the Sand River. On the one side, it looks towards the Serengeti, and the other side, it looks towards the Masai Mara. Absolutely beautiful property, really high end. This is going to go for around $3,500 per person per night. So it really targets that affluent traveler. The name, the brand itself is what sells for this property. So as you can see, it's going to have a lovely boma area with water all around. This just gives you an idea of the evening bomas. It has a separate boma at the top for private functions, or if you have a family that need to be separate from the rest of the guests. Beautiful pool areas, and then this will be the bridge that will cross in from the Masai Mara over the Sand River to this islet that is in the Sand River. The rooms beautifully appointed, mosquito nets, air conditioning, baths in every single room. Each of these rooms will also look out over the Sand River, so there's always some movement of animals in this area. The other new property that will be opening, this will open next year in June, so 2026 June, is the JW Marriott Mount Kenya Rhino Reserve. So it's the Solio Reserve. It is around Mount Kenya or close to Mount Kenya. This is really where they've relocated a lot of rhinos, and it just gives that idea of a circuit that works a lot better. As you know, rhino has been poached a lot in Africa. It's very difficult to see them. There are certain areas where you get to see a lot of rhinos, so especially around Mount Kenya, that's where they've got magical programs that look after these rhinos. So if you really want to see rhinos around Mount Kenya, the Old Pagetto Reserve, Solio Reserve, Lake Nakuru, that's really where you have runs. So just to give that all-round Big Five experience, this is what you'll combine with. The property itself, I don't have many photos yet. It is still in the planning, but really just glass all around. It gives that immersive feeling that when you're in these forests, these woodland forests, it's really good for black rhino especially. It almost feels as if you're in these forests. Each of these rooms will have a bath as well as a indoor-outdoor shower and a plunge pool. As you can see, again, a lovely luxury product, and just that typical kind of North American feel in terms of cabin and wood. And that is me in a nutshell. I hope I have given you some ideas for new safaris or products that you can sell to your guests. If you have any questions, please feel free. I am available for questions. Alternatively, Nadia has my contact details. I represent these products, so I'm happy to introduce you to these products directly, and they will issue either your DMCs with rates, or if you need any images for your websites or marketing purpose, I'm more than happy to help you with that. Thank
you,
you.
Monet. It was brief, but very, very nice. I put so many notes, and I'm happy to see a lot of openings in Africa, especially for such high brands. Шановні колеги, дозвольте мені ще раз підсумувати. Сьогодні ми говорили про готелі в Кенії і готелі в Уганді. Це ті два напрямки, які ми пропонуємо в Тревел Дизайнер. І сьогодні проговорили кілька готельних новинок, які плануються для відкриття вже цього року і наступного року, особливо від великих брендів, мережевих брендів, таких як Marriott. Ми проговорили про також локальні бренди, які сфокусовані в відомих вам вже парках, як то Масай Мара, як Самбуру, плато Лейкіпія, або Національний парк в Індії, в Уганді. Тож, якщо у вас залишаються питання щодо планування своєї подорожі або подорожі ваших гостей, клієнтів по цим напрямкам, ми радо запропонуємо вам програми. Ми можемо включити саме ті готелі, про які ми сьогодні говорили з вами, або підібрати ті, які підходять щодо очікувань і бюджету ваших туристів. Будемо раді бути вам корисні. Якщо у вас залишаються питання, ви можете задати їх в коментарях нижче, коли будете переглядати цей запис. Всім дякую і до наступних ефірів. Дякую вам.